Mr. Chairman, Dr. Livingston, I have an article which talks about the $336,000 TSA paid to IBM for producing an app. And I have this article says, when an app isn't much more than a random number generator, it's hard to imagine how it could cost that much for the development alone, but it is typical of government spending. And I understand from the staff that you once recommended an analysis that another employee refused to do and ended up spending $12 million on a project that should have cost just $3 million. Would you tell us about that and any other examples of huge waste that you've seen on your watch?
Sir, yes, sir. When I came on as the Deputy Assistant Administrator for the Office of Intelligence and Analysis, we did a watch floor transformation. And in that, we had allocated originally $3 to $3.5 million to do this transformation. And because there was no alternative of analysis completed, it was not managed properly. There was a 30, 60, 90-day signature that was completed that was not done properly. So the wrong equipment was ordered. It arrived, didn't work. We had to do it over, and it cost 3 times the amount. And even today, if you went and looked in that watch floor, there's about $500,000 worth of equipment sitting in a box in that office space, and there isn't manned where it should be about 12 people working. There's probably 4, maybe 5 people working. It was a total waste of money, and while it may not sound like a lot when you look at the big picture, it's wasted almost $7, $8, maybe $9 million. That's a lot of money if it was being paid for out of our pocket, and I think the taxpayers would be upset to know that TSA wasted that money.
Well, it may not sound like much to those in the federal government, but I can tell you it sounds like a lot to the average person out there when you waste when you pay $12 million for something that should have cost $3 million. Do either of you, Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Brainerd, have you seen examples of waste in your positions?
Yes, sir. In Minneapolis, we built a regional headquarters for a regional director that had no intentions of coming to Minneapolis. He stayed in Michigan, and throughout that whole process, as I worked with the Office of Real Estate, I would identify, why are we spending $300,000 on an office space that this regional director has no intention of coming to? We are in the process right now of Minneapolis of changing that, but we're going to spend more money to revamp that office space for a coordination center, where we should have done that at the beginning. We identified that years ago. I identified that years ago. But what happens is when you make suggestions like that, they just move around you, or you get cut out of the meeting, and you're not consulted anymore. So we've already spent $300,000 on this office space, and we're going to spend, I don't know, $150,000, potentially more, when we should have done that up front. And it's gross mismanagement.
Well, the easiest thing in the world is to spend other people's money. Mr. Brainerd?
Sir, I'd like to comment on the app that you just mentioned, and I got to tell you, that's one of the strongest indicators of the mentality that we have, not only of the feeling that they're bankrolled to pretty much do whatever they want, no matter how silly it seems. But when this story came out about the app, you find out that the app's no better than chance. And I put together this Ouija board. It's got expedited screening on it, and standard screening here at the bottom, which would have been just as effective as that app, and it would have cost a lot less. You could have the same type of outcome with a quarter, flipping a quarter at the checkpoint. And
well, I understand that there have been other software developers who just for fun have created this a similar app at almost no cost, and to pay $336,000 to IBM was a total ripoff, it seems to me.
Yes, sir. I also do app development as well, and I can tell you it does not take a lot of thought to do what they did.
Yes, Mr. Livingston, Dr. Livingston.
Sir, I wanted to make a comment for the record. I pointed out that fraud, waste, and abuse, and I was told to let it go. And I also made a point of saying that this was a lot of money and it was wasteful, and nobody took any action.
Well, all right. Well, let me mention one other thing since my time's running out. Mr. Rhodes, I understand that you think that the wait times at the Minneapolis airport have been falsified. Is that correct? And have you heard about that happening at other locations too?
I cannot comment specifically on other locations. I can comment at Minneapolis. In 2013, we received what's called a Federal Security Director Office of Inspection, basically a health check. And on page 18 of 40, which I provided to this committee, a supervisor at the checkpoints had identified that he or she, it doesn't give his or her gender, had expressed some frustrations that the wait times that they submit up forward was being changed by management. I can tell you at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, the airport police has at times begun to tabulate wait times. So think of that for a second. We are expending police resources at our airports to check on TSA reporting our wait times. And as recently as last month, the airport is investing in some sort of automated wait time calculations. That would indicate, sir, that they don't trust the numbers that we're purporting.
All right, thank you very much.
I thank the gentleman and gentlelady from New Jersey, Ms. Watson-Coleman. You're recognized.
Thank you very much.